Hello everyone! Today we're going to talk about a movie featuring creepy human-like titans hell-bent on hunting down humanity. To escape these monstrous beasts, humans sought refuge behind towering walls, vanishing from the titan's sight for a whole century. As time passed, the people behind the walls began to doubt the existence of this threat. But then, in a horrifying turn of events, the titans made a brutal comeback, breaching the wall, storming the settlement, and devouring many humans. However, among the survivors, there are those who are determined to stand up and fight. As the movie begins, we get a glimpse of this world's history. Out of nowhere, titans appeared on Earth, gigantic human-like beings with no apparent sex characteristics and a creepy, unsettling smile on their puffy faces. The monsters then began their terrifying march through human territory. The monsters could have wiped out humanity, but the survivors found a way out. They built 3 massive ring walls, enclosing a huge area, and settled down inside. For 100 years, there was no word about the Titans, so people stopped taking the threat seriously. The next scene takes us to a working-class neighborhood, where Armin, a teenage boy and one of the main characters, learns from his parents that his friend Aaron got fired from his job again. Armin dashes off to find his friend, and as he leaves, his father tells him that he doesn't have any job for Aaron. The city scenery around him is a mix of 19th century charm, with low-rise buildings and some occasional hints of technology, like self-driving wagons and machinery. Out of the blue, a kid calls out to Armin, mentioning that the toy he created is broken and jammed. Armin takes it with him, promising to get it fixed. On his way out of town, Armin stumbles into a strange man whose face is hidden by a worn-out hood. He then picks up his best friend Mikasa from work and continues his search for Aaron. The 3 friends reunite in green fields next to an old unexploded rocket. The whole setup and music in this scene gives off a vibe that's reminiscent of The Shire from the movie trilogy based on Tolkien's books. Aaron stands atop the rocket and gazes thoughtfully into the distance at a towering wall that seems to reach the sky. The boy fearlessly stands on the rocket, even giving it a kick that makes his friends flinch involuntarily. However, his attempt to show off backfires as he promptly stumbles and falls to the ground, right to his pals. Mikasa rushes over to him, but he quickly gets up, expressing his weariness of hiding behind walls without knowing what's happening beyond them. He declares that he'd rather see the rocket explode and take everything with it than to live a life confined to the massive fortress. Aaron also shares that he wasn't fired. It was his decision to quit. Armin and Mikasa decide to ask Aaron about his dreams and aspirations for the future. Armin then proudly shows Aaron a battery-operated toy he fixed for his little friend, giving a glimpse of his passion and skills. But when it's Mikasa's turn, she feels uncertain about what she wants. Aaron confesses that he longs to see many things. The fancy house is concealed behind the inner wall, the outer wall, and the enigmatic territory beyond it. The thought of being stuck within the walls his whole life makes him go wild, and he angrily kicks the rocket he recently clumsily fell from. To everyone's surprise, the rocket sheds off some dry dirt, revealing an image of a woman in a swimsuit with the ocean painted behind her. The friends can't be entirely certain if such a massive body of water really exists somewhere. Mikasa gazes longingly at a bird flying above them and wonders aloud if it has ever seen the ocean. Aaron asks his pals to follow him, leading them to the guard camp, where they spot barbed wire separating them from the outer wall. With great caution, the friends make their way through the ruins, sneak past the military's view, and reach the fence. Aaron spots a gap in it right away, and they all head straight for the wall. As the teenagers get closer to the wall, it appears before them in all its breathtaking glory. They see a crashed helicopter, now resting for good. The 3 friends had never been so close to the wall before. At one point, Mikasa starts coughing, and Aaron gives her his scarf. He says that the Titans are long gone, that it's all fiction. But Armin reminds him that according to the stories, a bomb exploded outside a long time ago, making it impossible for the people to survive outside. There are only Titans left out there. Aaron listens to his friend with disbelief. Guards sneak up on the teens. They try to capture the intruders, but Aaron confronts the soldiers. They want to execute them on the spot. The fight gets interrupted by an adult soldier named Soda, who happens to be the local garrison captain and Aaron's mom's former lover. He dismisses his subordinates, saying he'll deal with the kids himself. But instead of punishing the teenagers, he makes an unexpected offer to join the scouting regiment. Soda claims that the council has already given its approval, and they're actively pushing for it. Before Aaron can even respond, all hell breaks loose as the wall shakes violently under the enemy's relentless attacks from the other side. Out of nowhere, a massive, enraged Titan appears over the wall, its distorted face seething with fury. The Titan's body is smoking, and it's determined to get into the settlement and breach the wall. For a long time, Soda and the teens stand still and cannot believe their eyes. The soldiers don't know what to do. Meanwhile, a huge hole appears in the wall, and rocks start flying over the heads of the fortress inhabitants. The garrison turns their cannons toward the source of the noise, and the bloated faces of giant, ugly creatures appear in the hole. This is how we are first introduced to Titans. They smirk and begin their march on the city of men. Some Titans are walking slowly, while others, smaller ones, are crawling and sprinting on all fours. The first round of cannons goes off, and the cannonballs find their targets. The soldiers celebrate their victory, but their joy is short-lived. The injured Titans swiftly get back up and regenerate, continuing their advance. Aaron mentions that the legends depicted the Titans as immortal, and it seems to be true. As the first monsters reach the humans, they start their gruesome feast, gobbling up screaming soldiers. The flying remains are picked up by the smaller Titans. Panic ensues. The Titans advance, destroying everything in their path and devouring anyone they can get their hands on. The teenagers begin to flee further into the settlement. They reach the residential areas under the relentless rockfall at the same time as the Titans. The monstrous creatures get to humans from everywhere. It's almost impossible to hide from them. At one point, they get to Armin's father. He is eaten in front of their eyes. As the Titans snatch people from the crowd and devour them with contented grunts, an eerie atmosphere fills the air. The panicked crowd scrambles towards a sturdy wooden cathedral with strong doors. In their rush, some people fall into the muddy ground, often getting trampled by the frantic runners, not even sparing women and children. Among the chaos, a mother, unable to run, attempts to protect her child, and Aaron helps her get to safety. Unfortunately, in her haste, she forgets to pick up her baby, and they get separated. Mikasa emerges from the crowd and shields the crying baby with her body. Mikasa can't stand up, and Aaron and Armin are shoved into the cathedral by a rushing crowd. The girl stays outside. Suddenly, the people inside decide to shut the door, afraid that the Titans have come too close, and they refuse to let others in. As a Titan approaches Mikasa, everyone quickly jumps away from the door they were peering through. What happens to her next remains a mystery. The cathedral falls silent for a moment, and Aaron decides to venture outside and find Mikasa. To his surprise, she's not around, and as he exits, the cathedral door shuts behind him. The humans put too much faith in their shelter though, as Titans effortlessly lift the cathedral's roof as if a lid off a can. Trapped inside the cathedral, people are unable to escape, and they face relentless Titans killing them one by one. Aaron, feeling powerless to help, limps away into the heart of the ruined city within the fortress. The story picks up 2 years later, showing us the scouting regiment's training camp, where new recruits like Aaron and Armin prepare for a mission between the second and outer walls. Their goal is to eliminate all the Titans that breach those barriers and reclaim the fertile land. At this point, the settlement struggles with overpopulation and the growing threat of starvation, making the situation even more dire. The new military unit is commanded by Captain Hanji, a brave explorer obsessed with Titans. She gives an inspirational speech and tries to demonstrate the capabilities of a new means of transportation, the ODM, which stands for Omnidirectional Mobility Gear. Instead, however, she clumsily shoots the hook and pierces the nearby banner. She says that the scouts are on a mission to meet up with Shikishima and his crew. As soon as the people hear the name of this seasoned warrior, they burst into cheers. Shikishima is a legend who is getting ready to strike back at the Titans and who has ventured deep into the territory they've taken over. The meetup is happening at the Monzen area at sunset, right where the breach is. The Titans don't see well in the dark and usually sleep at that time, so the garrison commander's plan is to catch them off guard. As the soldiers come close to the mesh fence, they bid farewell to their loved ones who are staying safe behind it. Some of them have kids on the other side, and some parents. Eren observes the heartfelt scene, seemingly detached, and joins other soldiers. He catches up with a teary-eyed Armin and lets him know that there's no one else waiting for them. This is when we discover that Eren is an orphan. Just then, a little girl comes up to the fence and hands her toy to Armin.
Arigato.
The next episode takes us to the mess hall, where the scouts are eating and preparing to leave. Eren and Armin meet Soda. He's turned into a drunk and has become a cook in the kitchen. The old man is happy to see Eren and Armin alive. As he says his goodbyes to his pals, he learned from them that Mikasa has vanished. Eren blames himself for that, vowing to get revenge. Soda reveals that he lost his wife and kid in the Titan attack. As the story unfolds, we meet Sasha, another character in the movie. She's slim, but has quite the appetite, always hungry for more food. While they are having their meal, Armin briefs the scouts about their plan. The soldiers intend to sneak into the Monzen area, where a breach has appeared, and set off explosives inside it. The idea is to make the collapsed wall part seal the breach. Command thinks that although that would reduce the wall's height, it will still remain twice the height of an average Titan.
壁のこの部分を爆破して穴を塞ぐ。
The Titans that have gotten inside the perimeter will need to be finished off after that. Sasha, having barely finished listening to the briefing, eats the wall mock-up made of food. Armin sadly notes that all previous similar missions have failed. The Titans immediately attack the scouts and wipe them out. He also says that the settlement's food supply is coming to an end, and this mission is humanity's last hope. After taking it all in, Sasha asks for more food. They wouldn't let her, and when she tries to protest, one of the scouts, named Jean, steps into the conversation. He tells everyone that they've all been sold off by their parents to avoid taking care of them, and that the whole scout regiment is made up of people who can't find a normal job. Jean starts shouting insults, which frightens one of the girls. Armin chimes in, saying that Jean's behaving like this because he's scared. This sets the troublemaker off, and he goes after Armin to prove he's not scared. Just then, Eren shows up and asks Jean if monsters have nipples.
巨人に乳首だよ。見たことないのに随分威勢がいいな。
Jean quickly loosens his grip in confusion. Eren calls him a show-off and a slacker, but Hanji then steps in to break up the fight. She admits she has no idea how Titans reproduce and regrets not having the chance to study them. Hanji also announces a gathering in 10 minutes. Lastly, Eren's opponent tosses a sarcastic remark about him leaving Mikasa in trouble. At this moment, Eren charges Jean, but he's caught and carried away by a burly guy renowned for his immense strength, Sanagi, who wields an axe as his main weapon. Later, all the soldiers get into large vehicles and drive to the dangerous neighborhood. Inside the truck, the soldiers talk to each other. Sanagi comes from a farm. He says that all the scouts are actually going home now, because most grew up in the destroyed part of the fortress. Their first objective on their mission is to reach the Amatamachi outpost. The scouts have to be stealthy as they sneak in under the cover of night, making sure not to wake up any Titans. The commander warns that these monsters have a sharp hearing when it comes to humans. They can hear a person from miles away and will react to the slightest noise, so everyone needs to be as quiet as possible. The car drives past the middle wall, and the soldiers begin their quest. On the way, Sanagi tells Eren a story about a Titan-slaying goddess who's waiting for them in Amatamachi, together with Shikishima. All they know is that she's been on a killing spree, taking down dozens of Titans recently. The car suddenly encounters an unusual obstacle, and the commander orders everyone to come to a halt and inspect the area.
なんだよ。どうした？状況、牛。
The scouts walk around the cars with lanterns in their hands, but they don't discover anything intriguing, except for some deserted livestock and potatoes. Sasha starts munching on raw potatoes. A young girl named Hannah claims she heard a faint voice of a child, who must have been left behind by his parents. She rushes to help and Eren follows her. They venture far from the vehicles and come across something truly unsettling and quite surprising. They stumble upon a terrifying baby Titan, which is especially weird after Hanji's recent revelations about these creatures being genderless. Suddenly, the baby Titan starts wailing loudly, drawing the attention of other Titans. The scout team quickly rallies together and gets ready to defend themselves. Surprisingly, General Kubal and his guards abandon the scouts, hopping into a vehicle and taking off. Hanji follows suit, ordering her team to flee. Strangely, none of the soldiers seem to know how to use the ODM gear, and they don't even attempt to try it. In the midst of escape, one of the scouts even asks about the monster's weak spots. It's like these soldiers were never trained for a real battle. Armin finds himself in a tight spot as one of the Titans catches up to him, aiming to have him for lunch. Just in the nick of time, the big guy, Sanagi, comes to the rescue. With a single swift motion, he effortlessly hurls the giant creature over his shoulder. While the recruits are running in panic, Shikishima is flexing his skills in a nearby building. For those who have watched the anime, it's obvious that this character is an homage to Levi. When his partner walks up to him and throws a cape over his shoulders, the two finally decide to move outside to help the inept scouts. The squad quickly makes their way back to Amatamachi, but they encounter a massive titan blocking their path. It's at this moment that Eren remembers Hanji's training back at the base, where she mentioned the weak spot of these monsters is their nape. If you manage to cut it, the titan can't heal and bites the dust. He also recalls the rules for handling the ODM gear, which involves shooting grappling hooks to latch onto walls. While Eren recollects useful information, Shikishima and his partner suddenly show up on the battlefield. Eren recognizes the girl. It turns out to be Mikasa, but she acts like she doesn't know him. The two experienced scouts skillfully take down all the monstrous creatures in no time, and the survivors head towards Amatamachi. Their mission is to get the explosives, load them onto a truck, and keep on moving towards the hole in the wall. They make a quick break as the soldiers uncover the hidden hatch under the base, finding the stash of explosives, which they promptly load into the vehicles. Jean, who's been causing problems and giving Armin a hard time ever since they were at the city camp, starts pointing fingers at Eren, saying he's the one behind the Titans' attack on the squad. They end up fighting, and Jean loses. Mikasa and Shikishima show up just in time to break up the fight. Shikishima walks away, and Eren follows him. The scout gives Eren a word of harsh advice, telling him to learn how to use the ODM so he won't end up as cattle. Meanwhile, Armin shares with Sasha how he got into making battery-powered toys. He then reveals that a boy he promised to fix a squeaker for is dead. The general comes by and tells Armin that technological progress won't lead to anything good. Later on, Eren visits Mikasa while she's playing the piano. During their short chat, he finds out that the baby she was protecting didn't make it, and that she got bitten by a titan but somehow survived. At this point, Shikishima shows up and hugs Mikasa. Eren can't stand the sight and runs outside to scream. Another girl from the scout team steps in to quiet him down so that Eren doesn't attract the nearby monsters. Together, they go back down to the basement and watch a married couple. The girl asks Eren to be the dad of her baby left behind in the city and flirts with him. However, soon the soldiers at the campground catch the eye of a titan. It grabs the girl and immediately devours her. The woman loses her husband who got crushed by falling stones. As the Titans advance, chaos breaks out, and the scouts try to use their ODMs for the first time. Sanagi swings his axe and cuts one of the Titans' legs. Exploiting the panic, the terrorist we saw before tries to hijack the car filled with explosives. That's the hooded man Armin stumbled into in the city earlier in the movie. This is the last set of explosives the scouts have left. But the terrorist plan is foiled by the woman who lost her husband. She bravely jumps into the back of the truck, accidentally igniting boxes with her lamp, and takes control of the cabin, knocking out the man wrapped in cloth. Overwhelmed with grief, the woman directs the blazing truck towards the nearest Titan. The explosion sends several monsters flying. Seeing everything that is happening around him, Eren jumps into action. Jean, scared out of his mind, watches his fellow scouts soaring through the air. In the end, Eren doesn't quite make it. One of the Titans leaps and bites his leg off and hurls him far away from the battleground. Lying unconscious on the concrete, he struggles to come to his senses. Shikishima, with a cynical look, glances at the defeated Eren and nonchalantly remarks, "Tough luck," before getting back into the fight. Jean is trapped, surrounded by Titans on a rooftop. To save him, the scouts begin to distract the giants. Sasha shoots them in the eyes with arrows, and Sanagi chops their legs. Jean jumps off the roof, kills one of the Titans, and runs to find Eren. At that moment, a Titan grabs Armin and puts him in his mouth. Sasha's arrow doesn't help, and Jean can't penetrate the Titan's thick skin on his back. Just as time was running out, Eren pushes Armin to safety, but ends up getting caught by the ravenous creature, losing his arm in the process. Eren falls into the creature's stomach, where he begins to slowly dissolve. Outside, the battle continues. The Titans have driven the scouts into a trap, while the general and the guards evacuate, driving away. Armin gives Mikasa Eren's hand and tells her that their friend is gone. Fueled by anger, Mikasa decides to get revenge and charges into battle against the Titans. She manages to take several of them down before she collapses on the ground. As she lies, a massive, fat Titan who devoured Eren approaches her, visibly suffering from indigestion. Suddenly, the monster explodes, and a Titan, burning with red light, erupts from it. It starts attacking other Titans, and the scouts think it's their new ally. However, after slaying some of the monsters and scaring others away, the new Titan lunges at the humans as well. As he grabs Mikasa, his strength leaves him. The Titan falls on his stomach and begins to evaporate. Soda commands to cut the fallen monster's neck open. A healthy and unharmed Eren emerges from it, but his eyes are red, and he's inside a strange husk. Many believe that the movie, despite being named after a well-known anime series, is more like fan fiction, loosely based on the original story and lore. It flips a lot of things from the source material on its head, like the timeline and setting, the characters' names, and even their personalities. For instance, Mikasa was supposed to be Eren's adopted sister, not his girlfriend. Also, in the anime, the story is set in a world resembling the early 19th century, with horses, traditional weapons, and everyday life. The ODMs powered by compressed air were a pinnacle of engineering in the manga and anime's world. But as always, check out the title of the movie in the video description. In the meantime, tell us in the comments. If you're familiar with the original anime and manga, what changes did you find the most off-putting? And what elements of the film did you prefer over the source material? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to see even more cool recaps.